Welcome in to another edition of the Cavalier Connection. With me tonight is Jay Ballard, and I am Jeff Lowe. How are you doing tonight, Jay?
I'm doing great. Uh, Keeping our eyes peeled on the Twitterverse for breaking news as we record this at 9:45 on Monday night.
Yes. So we're going to be playing this for you guys. It's going to come out for you guys tomorrow morning at 9, tomorrow morning, and tomorrow night at 9. And hopefully there'll be more news before we come off the air tonight. And I'm going to guess breaking news tomorrow. Just as we were sitting here waiting to come on the air, we got a commitment, tight end Willem. Oh my goodness! Third. How did I miss? What's that?
Willem Thurber.
The William Thurber. Thank you. I wrote
Not
his
William.
name down. Oh, it's not William. It's Willem.
Willem. Our apologies, Willem.
Our apologies, Willem. We'd love to have you on the air. A bit mistake on Jeff Lowe. 6'5", 225 tight end, but it's coming fast and furious. I know I had baseball practice tonight, and when I came in and getting ready to sit down and record, Jay says the portal's getting hot in basketball. But so tonight, go ahead.
Jackie friend Chuli just tweeted that with those commitments, we are now ranked inside the top 25 nationally for our 2025 recruiting class.
Coach Elliott's getting the job done.
Yep.
Tonight, we're going to talk about the transfer portal, basketball, football, as well as spring football game that we were fortunate enough to have Jay at. He got a little video footage. So we're going to get started. We're going to show a little video from Jay's time at the football game. And then we're going to come back and give a little spring football reaction. Oh, wahoo.
First half will run like a normal game. The second half will eventually switch to a running clock. The coaches for the white team are Des Kitchen, Kevin Downer, Keith Gaither, and Anna Bibbs, with head coach Sean Rositsky. And for the blue team, the coaches are Terry Heffernan, Graham Cox, Chris Slade, and Mike Adams, with head coach. Quarterback. Landry on the Kirby takes on the kick. Cleveland Richard. 73 yards. Touchdown, White Team. Cavalier snapped to the flag. Bryce Carter. White Team.
You see that? He broke him on that. He rip him, man. He broke him. Just some video footage from Jay from the spring game. Jay, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think I'm trying to write an article that I'm hoping will come out tomorrow on some takeaways from the game. But I think anybody that was there, so we've kind of said many times that we thought Calandria would be the starter, and it wasn't really a competition. After watching that, I I don't know how it's not a competition. Now, I think for the sake of the program, you've got to still. I still say you have to go with Calandria, even if Musket outplays him and earns the job. And I hate to say that because I like earned, not given. But for the sake of the program over the next few years, I think you've got to play Calandria this year. Musket looked really good though. And it's hard to judge a spring game. You got a lot of guys that didn't play. I think there were only like 8 or 9 offensive linemen. Some of them had to go both ways. And so, I read that Calandria was playing against more of the starting defensive line, which he was under a lot of pressure. Musket didn't face a ton of pressure. He was able to have a little more time to throw the ball. And actually, the very first play, J.R. Wilson, who's kind of been a spring darling and hopefully a breakout candidate for the fall, had a big game, long touchdown. But on the very first play of the scrimmage on offense for Tony, I forget if they were blue or white, Tony's team. I looked at it as Tony versus AC myself. Right. But Musket hit him in stride for what would have been about an 80-yard touchdown, and he just dropped it. First play. So, Musket threw for 200 and had 2 really long touchdowns. Should have been 3. But, the quarterbacks are both pretty talented. I think that's a good problem to have. I do think Coach Elliott is smart not to name a starter because that portal is, it's a real thing, and you tell the wrong person they're not going to get to play and they'll leave. So defensively, I think we're going to be a whole lot better. Both sides of the ball, as far as in the scrimmage there, both defenses played well. Both had their moments where, especially on the D line, they seemed to play well on both sides. We're deep at wide receiver. Tyree didn't even play, and we had guys making plays all over the field. So, honestly, I left the game thinking there's a whole lot of talent on the team right now. And, we did our best bets, and one of my best ones was Virginia over 4.5. when we did the ACC huddle. For those of you that aren't aware, the college huddle we're a part of, proud to be a member of. We all Jeff hosts the ACC huddle. We were on there talking about over/under win totals for ACC teams, and Virginia's over/under is only 4.5. And I tell you, looking at that team, with the talent that they have, and it's not just young talent; it's old talent. And in college football, a lot of times old talent wins. And so I'm really excited. Watching the video, it makes me like, I just can't wait for Richmond. Yeah, I wish it was this weekend. But it was good to see. There was a lot of alumni there. All ages. I saw guys that looked like they were having trouble walking with the alumni badges on, all the way down to Joey Blunt. So a lot of representation there. Lots of recruits were there, and seeing some things on X with them having a great weekend and a great time. And so I think Coach Elliott, his message is resounding right now, and it's really coming through with people, and he seems to be making headway. So I hope the results on the field match the momentum that we have kind of built since that Virginia Tech game ended in November.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see all those alumni coming out and supporting the team. I understand you had a conversation with Tony Muskett at the gas station.
No conversation, just held the door for him. He was leaving. That's all I'm gonna say. He was leaving the gas station.
So we're not gonna hear what y'all discussed. I appreciate you did hold the door for him and protect him at this stage.
That's right.
Did he call you sir, or
he did?
That's letting us know how old you are.
Sir.
That's let us know how old you are. The quarterback situation. I know Tony Elliott told both guys to go out and just compete. It's a job, a competition, and so you said Muskett played better than Calandria, in your opinion, from what you saw.
Yeah, in my opinion, he played a better game. Now, in that video, I happened to catch, and they were back-to-back plays in the video there. There was a play where I don't know what Muskett's numbers were. He had a few incompletions, but he threw one off his back foot. He did this a couple times last year. He sailed it over the receiver's head, and the DBs, dove for what would have been an interception. It was a little too far, not a realistic play to expect him to make. But he's got to stop doing that.
Right.
He's got to set his feet and make good throws every time, because when he doesn't and that ball sails, I mean, you're talking pick six, and we're not going to be good enough to overcome those mistakes. And then AC threw what would have been a pick six in the very next play on that video. If you saw, of course he was touched down, but so it didn't count. But but yeah, so nobody, not perfect. Offensively, we actually struggled. AC was very frustrated. They went for it one time down on about the 10-yard line. It was 4th and 1. And it's one of those situations. It's like, I understood why he would hand it off in the situation, because if he gets touched, he's down. But it was a situation where he clearly should have kept it. They ran the read option. He handed it off. It was a play that was in that video montage there as well. Running back runs into, about 3 people, a yard in the backfield. So he was frustrated. You could tell he was frustrated, but the talent was evident. He looks good. He looks fast. He's, got a lot of wiggle to him. And, I look forward to the fall. It's competition in the fall is going to be tough. I really think it is a competition. And you got to think, so in the NFL, if you're a rookie head coach, you don't really have to worry about getting fired. You play the young kid. But if you're on the hot seat and you got a veteran versus a young kid, you don't have time to wait for the young kid to develop. So maybe you play the veteran. And is Tony on the hot seat? Does he feel like whoever gives me the better chance to win, I'm going to play at the sake of possibly, not developing AC, it's a tough call.
That's what I was going to mention. Does he play Musket? If the veteran, if he feels he's got his best chance to win, his job is to win football, and I would like to think Calandra would win the job. But if Musket, I want to win as a fan as well. And if Musket gives us our best chance, you know, the thing is, if you look at the history of Musket last year, and I think Calandra got banged up a little bit too, it's good to have two quarterbacks who can play. If Musket won the job, let's just play that scenario out and say he won the job, and Calandra doesn't play it down this year. Is he willing to take it's a red shirt year and his job next year, and then you get 3 years out of him?
Yeah, I think that would be what you would hope to happen, honestly. If Musket does win the job, then he would just go out and play so well that you can't even consider putting AC in, barring an injury. Right. And what can they can play in how many games and still redshirt? Was it like 4?
Yeah,
3 or 4?
It's something like that. It's a crazy amount. So
I mean, you know, even if Musket got banged up or had to miss a game or two, and AC got a little time, it's one of them. You know, we say in basketball, and Tony we trust. This Tony hasn't earned that yet, so it's like I saw with AC the potential,
right?
And I think Musket is just a safe, low ceiling play.
Right.
Personally, I'd rather see AC get the job and grow with him. And I think I think the guys that came through the portal and everything he's been recruiting, they went to his house in Florida, or, you know, the house he rented in Florida. All that. I think the job is assumed to be his, but I think that assumption could be wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought the same thing until we got closer to camp, and it does seem like it's a competition.
You remember Jackie when we had her on? Yep. She said, if you listen to the coaches, they say it is.
Right. But we said, of course they're going to say that. Yeah. Calandra. So if you look at this team, if this team was this, so this would be my opinion. If this team was a team that could compete to win the ACC, then you play Musket. You play the safer play. If he gives you a chance to win the ACC, but this is not a team that's going to win the ACC. So build with your, Calandria has your higher ceiling. I say you go with Calandria.
Give him that. I think you have to.
Right.
I'd be really surprised, in all honesty, if the first snap against Richmond is not AC under center.
I wish I could say the same, but I can't. I just Coach Elliott feels like an old school guy. You know, old school guys like old people, and I just don't know.
Well, I'm eligible. I'm available if they want old, Jeff. If that's the only criteria,
you can throw that 5-yard screen.
That's right.
But because last year Calandria came in when Musket got hurt, and boy, he looked good, and we thought, oh, they won't go back to Musket. As soon as Musket was available, he went back to Musket. So
AC also had some moments like, where Maryland, the game where he threw, 3 interceptions in consecutive. So he had moments where it was but then he also had moments like against NC State where he took them down the field, got the improbable 2-point conversion. Of course, then he got the penalty, even though we think it was a bullcrap call,
bogus penalty.
His helmet was coming off. We remember all that, but.
Yeah.
I love the moxie. Like, I had no problem with him talking about beating Virginia Tech.
No, not at all.
Why would he not?
We need people. That. Yes, we need people to be willing to say stuff like that. Stop being so soft.
Yeah, they're not afraid to say anything.
Don't be scared of the moment. Like you said in the past, we played a uniform sometimes. We playing what's happened in the past. This is the new. And then one last takeaway, just because I know you had some Twitter beef this week with a Virginia Tech fan wanted to show. There's a video of the other side of the stadium that was empty, but it's under construction, and
Yeah, you weren't even allowed to go over there, Jeff.
couldn't go over.
It was a total misleading lie. I mean, so you finish what you were saying, though. Go ahead.
No. You had to come to the defense of the team. You said, and I'll let you speak to what the crowd was like. You were there.
Yeah, so the comment was basically a picture of the other side of the stadium that was empty, and said it showed like where the band was sitting, probably at about 12:15 when there weren't many people there. It was the band, and then the other side of the stadium, and they were like, "I've seen more support at a high school scrimmage," trying to make it appear as if there was no fan support. But if you were there, the side of the field that was open for fans was from 20 to 20 was pretty packed. It was a hot day. All the seats up in the shaded areas were taken. And then once you got down to the bleachers, where closer to the field, it was still crowded. So I didn't get a picture of what it was like on that side because I was on that side, obviously.
Right.
But I was very pleased, all things considered, that I thought it was a good crowd. I left at halftime, as did a lot of other people. But that was just to make it over to the baseball game. So,
yeah. And speaking of that, I did want to mention, I know you went over to the baseball game and you actually got to go to a good one. And I wish I had the video to post of, the game when it hit. You got the video and your son Jayden having a celebration time. Another little Twitter comment about the celebration, like we won the World Series. And so a couple things on that. I know you gave a little reply, and everybody can have their own opinion. A couple things. Number one, we see 40-year-old men in Major League Baseball. Every walk-off is celebrated like that. Every walk-off. So what do you think these kids are going to do? Kids do what they see the adults do. These college kids want to be in the bigs. They're gonna do the same thing. And I know you put on there. I mean, these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. They want a baseball game with a walk-off. So they're gonna celebrate. There's nothing wrong with that. And then Jayden got to enjoy a walk-off base hit, and so that was cool for him as well.
Yeah, that was a really fun game. That was my first game at the Dish. We probably sat in about 6 or 7 different spots throughout the game. We found ourselves down kind of close to just to the right side of home plate for the last few innings there. And what was funny was purposely we went out into the bleachers before Ford hit in the 6th or 7th inning when he hit the home run. I told Jayden, I said, let's go into the bleachers. The big home run hitters are coming up next inning. Maybe we'll get one. And so I was actually recording when he hit it. And then I lost it. I knew it was gone as soon as I saw him hit it. And I lost it. And then I see people scrambling. It was like 2 sections over from us. But I was like, oh, man, the kid that was sitting beside us, he took off sprinting. And he said he got to within one person of the ball, but yeah, it was fun, and it was a frustrating weekend for Virginia baseball. We went Friday night, lost the opener 13-2, came back, won that exciting game on Saturday, had all the momentum, came out and jumped on them early. We're up 3-0 after the first. But as has been the case pretty much all year, pitching kind of bugabooed a little bit. And, O'Connor said after the game, hats off to them. They kind of kicked our butts today. We couldn't get them out. No matter who we threw out there, 25 hits. I mean, they had 25 hits.
Right. That's crazy.
17 runs.
Every Virginia baseball game, the runs that are going up from us and whoever we're playing is unreal. It makes you think of the Pinto baseball or 7 and 8 year olds, coach pitch.
Yeah, we need to go to a 5-run limit.
Yeah, I know. I need that for my current team too. But anyway, And I'm hoping, I'm sure there's many fans out there. If you saw Cavalier Connection T-shirt on TV during that game, make sure you comment. I was able to catch them on TV. They were just to the right of home plate, so they weren't right behind home plate for the pitches. But in between, I don't recall the inning now. When they were going to break, they kind of scanned across and they hit J.N. Jayton. Did you watch the replay to see it?
No, I haven't seen it yet, but it was after they had first and third, nobody out.
Yes,
and
we got
were
out
in
of it.
double play depth. I don't know why the kid didn't take off. We were
Right.
giving them, conceding the run,
Right.
and turned the double play. Then we got out of the jam.
Yep.
And apparently Jayden was excited and fist pumping.
Yeah, he did a like a Lex Luger, like this is what he did. And I tried to rewind, but it wouldn't let me rewind ACC Plus or whatever net. I don't know what it on the online. So I was so crazy enough. I was standing up in front of the TV with the phone ready to snap a picture so Jayden could see himself on TV, and I couldn't get him to come back. And then I sat down, and Shannon stood up, my wife, and she was trying to take a picture of Jay and Jayden on the TV, and they didn't make it back on. But it was a nice win. And real quick, before we get into the portal and things like that, coming off of baseball, I wanted to mention our UVA Spotlight Athlete of the Week. And as we talk baseball, this is the guy, Chase Hungate. So Chase, he was pitching in that game against Georgia Tech. He threw 5 innings of relief, 1 earned run, 6 hits, no walks, and that improved his record. He got the win in that game, so he's 5-0 on the season. So kudos to Chase. And it's any pitcher who can pitch 5 innings for us and give up 1 run. That's that's huge, especially the way Georgia Tech had been hitting that ball. But he's definitely our UVA Spotlight Athlete of the Week.
Yeah, Jeff, tough sidearmer. He got into some jams, but he always kind of worked himself out of it. I wanted to mention, because I saw this on Facebook, if you have a kid that's a pitcher, he's actually on Facebook and made himself available for pitching lessons. So if he's on Facebook under his name, Chase Hungate, look him up and send some. What better way to get your kid one better at baseball, and 2, help out a UVA student athlete with some work. So congratulations to Chase on the win, and hopefully he'll get some business. If you go to Chase, tell him the Cavalier Connection sent you there.
Yes.
And let him know that we're pushing for business to go to him because we appreciate the student athletes.
Yep. And tell him to look us up. We're looking to bring him on. We want to celebrate him as the athlete of the week. Anyway, so moving forward, Jay, you want to talk a little? Let's talk a little basketball portal. So this week has gotten hot. Trent Perry first. Rumor mills out there saying that he's ours to lose. Those kind of reports make me nervous. Our buddy old ball coach out there, he said he had a little pessimism to this one as well, to this report as well. And I get it, because we feel like we got somebody constantly and then we fall short. We had the guy, what's his name? Jaron Stevenson was supposed to be coming.
Josh.
Was it Josh? I thought it was Jaron.
You talking about
at Alabama?
Oh, my fault. Yeah.
Jaron Stevenson. And he was a lock, and then out of the blue, he ghosted us. He cut us loose. But Trent Perry, the question is, will he commit? We definitely need some help in the backcourt. Dante Harris, we wish him luck. He's moving on. Kind of thought this was coming, but I didn't think he'd wait this long. So I don't know. You haven't seen any reports of where he's potentially looking at going? Have you seen anything?
Talking about Perry?
No, Dante Harris.
Oh no, I haven't. Once they leave us, Jeff, it's a scorned. Not that I'm upset.
What?
But,
So the only reason I asked that because I did see somebody say something about ODU should reach out to him. That
yeah, I
might be a good
disagree.
spot for him.
Nah, nah, nah.
Well,
Best wishes in his future endeavors.
So our backcourt right now is Christian Bliss. Our point guard is Christian Bliss.
Yeah. So I mean, look, somebody's going to come in. Even if we don't get Perry, we're going to get somebody, right? And
Right.
everybody was in a panic when we didn't. Who was it? We lost out on this weekend or late
The
last
guy
week.
from Harvard.
Right. That's right. The point guard.
Yeah.
And as I said on Twitter, then when we get our guy, you'll be excited, and you'll be glad that we didn't get the Harvard kid. And I said then I didn't think the Harvard kid was a great fit, and he's a volume shooter. That doesn't really necessarily play in Tony's system. But the kid Perry, he was a USC commit, decommitted, McDonald's All-American. I mean, he'd be our highest ranked recruit since Kyle Guy. So, he's got to be super talented. You don't get to be a McDonald's All-American. You remember the Pete Gillen line, right, Joe?
What's that?
Duke has McDonald's All-Americans. We've got guys that eat McDonald's.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
But yeah, I mean, we just don't get them at Virginia. So
No,
if we do get him, that's a great get. But honestly, if he decides to go elsewhere, it wouldn't shock me. But we will get somebody, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine. So the kid Jefferson that was in for the visit, was it last weekend?
Yes, the same time as Perry, I believe.
Okay, yeah. He looks like he's got a crystal ball for Iowa State. I read. So it looks like we're losing him. Also, I think it was the old ball coach who might have said that Perry was lining up a visit to Gonzaga.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's a concern.
That's who said that. Yep.
That's a concern. I mean, if Gonzaga gets him in, you want it to be like the kid from Harvard, where he's got a visit lined up and he cancels it because your visit was so good, he just commits. And
they said the visit, of course, I don't know where these reports are coming from, but they said the visit was so good. It was such a great, like he felt good, and then when he came for the visit, it was such a great visit that it's Virginia's to lose.
Yeah, Gonzaga's got a great program. They rival Virginia. They just don't have the national championship, and they're not in the ACC, obviously. But, good program. Mark Few's a great coach. If you lost them to Gonzaga, it wouldn't shock me.
Yep.
But I mean, so the kid that broke tonight that is coming for a visit, Aiden Mahaney, is coming in tomorrow. He's from St. Mary's. He was their leading scorer, 13.9 a game, 6'3" guard, 40% shooter from three-point range this past season. He's played 2 years, so I'm assuming that means he's got 2 years left. I don't know if the COVID thing is still a thing or not, where some kids are getting 5, but he's played 2. He did visit Creighton, but now he's coming to visit Virginia tomorrow. So it's one of them situations. He left Creighton. A lot of people thought that was where he was going to end up, but he's coming to Virginia for a visit, and from all accounts, he'd be a great fit with us. Good shooter, and then also this would be a really good get, and this one seems to be the most likely. The Northern Illinois transfer, Xavier Amos. We got picked up a prediction for Virginia on 3 Sports. So he averaged 14.6 boards and I think it was 1 block a game as a sophomore. Shoots 38.5% from 3. He's got 2 years left of eligibility too. And the comp that I read was Ryan Dunn with offense. He's 6'8" wing. Again, good player. And we need athletic wings.
Yep.
And then Jeff, you want to talk about the last kid? The if you have him in front, if you don't, I can do it. But the grad transfer from Illinois Chicago.
Illinois Chicago, the 6'8", average 11.1, 6.8, 2 blocks, 1.5 steals last season. Toby Okani.
Yep.
He's visiting on Tuesday tomorrow. So grad transfer, so 1 year of eligibility left, unless there's some kind of a COVID situation. Another big. We need some assistance down on the inside. So I didn't see anything. Do you have any information about his shooting ability, or as far as the 3-point shot?
I did not see that, but again, he's a defensive guy. I think he was all defensive team in their conference. I don't know if he was defensive player of the year or just first team all defense, but fits in the Tony mold, and obviously he can score a little bit. 11 a game is nothing to sneeze at.
No.
So, welcome addition, because again, experience. You look at teams in the tournament, you can be a young team and have success, but when you get to the tournament, like there's a lot of veteran teams, grown men beat talented boys. I mean, that's just a fact. Just like in the NBA, you can be a young team. LeBron and company can go, finish in the 7-8 seed, and they got a bad matchup. But if the Lakers had played, OKC in the first round, I would have fully expected them to win that series.
I agree with you there. The Lakers' time is done.
I agree.
No, I think Xavier Amos, he's definitely would be a great pickup to get that ability to score. Shot 38.5% from 3, and I want to say, gosh, my mind's so bad. Our guy we just got this past year from Oklahoma,
Groves,
thank you. I think Groves came in as a 38% 3-point shooter as well.
I'd have to look. I don't remember.
I think he did,
I'm sure it was something like that because he was a good shooter.
But what I was gonna say is, though, if you get somebody, Groves was I don't want to call him I hate to call him a softer player, but you can get somebody go in there.
Shooter.
And, right. If you can get somebody who's athletic, when you get compared to Ryan Dunn, somebody athletic who's 6'8", who can also shoot 38, 40% to 40% from 3, score you 14, play tough on the inside as well, can get to the basket, maybe a little more athletic, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That'd be huge. Because last season playing, on offense, we were 3 on 5 on offense, and so getting somebody out there who's athletic who can also score would be huge.
Who has to be thrilled?
Who's that?
IMAC.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Thrilled,
no doubt. So it'll be interesting to see what we end up doing. As you said, we know there's going to be we're going to get some players from the portal every single day. You still see people entering the portal. So
yep.
I did want to mention, I know you said there's nothing to sneeze at, 11.1 points per game. I think that's about what Dante Harris averaged at Georgetown coming into Virginia. But anyway, neither here nor there.
One thing, Jeff, before we move on from basketball, do you think it's a coincidence that the governor signs the law that the public universities can, it's not pay the players to play, but basically you can pay the players for a marketing campaign.
Right.
And now all of a sudden we get a visit from a McDonald's All-American. We get these kids coming in. Is that a coincidence, or do you think it has something to do with that?
It may have something to do with that. I mean, that was huge for us to get that for Governor Youngkin to sign that. That was huge for the state. Did Tennessee's governor sign the same thing? I know they were both involved. I haven't
seen any other states. We're the first. I know that.
Tennessee was a part when Virginia and Tennessee sued the NCAA. Both of them sued the NCAA. Now, I've only heard of Virginia signing this thing, like you just said, into law. But it'd be nice for us to get a little bit of an advantage at some point. Because even though, and I think we talked about this at a previous episode, I think Virginia was ranked number 12 nationally in NIL money or something like that.
14, I think is what it was.
And they were definitely, much higher ranked than I anticipated.
Right.
So we'll see. I don't care if it's a coincidence, if it's the reason. Just come on in. We got some holes in this roster we need to fill.
Yeah.
And
but we know Tony's going to fill them.
I
mean, and if he doesn't, he'll figure out a way to win what he's got to a certain degree.
Right. I mean, shucks, we had to start. Chase Coleman started some games for us the year. Remember, we had a empty scholarship spot, and Chase Coleman had to start some point guard games for us.
Yeah.
And I don't recall how that season went. I don't think that it wasn't terrible or anything, but Tony Bennett found ways to win. What's that?
Walk on to playing. I mean,
right now we don't want to be going with a walk on in these situations at all.
No.
But we'll be interested to see what Tony Bennett does in the portal. Did you want to mention anything about? Did you have anything else regarding football, Jay? Or
let me take a look at my notes. Oh, so yeah, one thing I don't want to read in too much into Coach Elliott's post-game press conference, but they were talking about. He said most everyone is bought in. So when I hear that, it makes me think some people have not, because he would have just said, "Yeah, everybody's bought in," and that's not the case. So I do expect in the next few days we'll see a few defections from the football team. But we're hosting offensive linemen, and I didn't catch from where, but
yep.
And I know another Clemson kid just entered the portal. And every time I see a Clemson kid pop in the portal, I think we're going to be on him. Whether we get him or not, I don't know. But so expect some departures in the next few days. Don't panic. I don't think it's going to be any of the guys that are, guys we're really going to count on in the fall.
When we had Jackie on, she told us expect to see more in the portal after the spring game.
Yeah.
There's some guys on the fence. So, there's going to be more in the portal, but then also there, like you said, we'll get more that will come in as well. So that's just the game that's getting played here.
It's free agency.
It's college football free agency, no doubt.
How's the video game going to make this work?
Well,
doing Dynasty and just be losing guys?
Well, even in NCAA football 2014, when you completed a season, there was a transfer section. So but you didn't get to go out and recruit transfers. It's just like you got two guys who want to transfer in. Do you take them or you don't take them?
Right.
Type of deal.
50% of your roster is overturned every year almost, probably now.
It'd probably be wild. It's probably too much for my eyes.
Yeah.
And my fingers.
There's good and bad. We like to build teams, and I think about the guys growing up that we followed. Virginia, 4-year players, and they kind of grew into it. Some guys came in as freshmen and played all the four. But, that's the good thing, but you can rebuild really fast if you bring in the right guys. And so,
yeah, it's true. For watching purposes or following a team, it's very difficult in college because the guys are in, guys are out. Like I know when we were younger, and this is just not old man talk, but you go to the games, you knew your guys. They'd be there for 4 years. You got to see them grow, and now, I mean, there's such a turnover every season. It's hard to keep up with players. It's like the NFL, the NFL, at least guys are there. They got a contract. They got 3 years, 4 years. College football, it's a year-to-year contract, and God knows it. I think a college football or basketball coach. I'm just using those as examples. It's not just, they're not the only sports. I mean, I feel like it's harder than a professional sport to do
It
because
is now.
you
Yeah.
can't just like you got to be a salesman. You got to be able to coach, potentially call an offense or a defense, and as soon as you get done with your practice, you got to rush to your recruiting. You got to look in the portal. Like it's just stuff going on. You got to keep
And you
your
got to
own
be a
guys happy.
babysitter for
What's
some
that?
of these guys.
What's that?
A babysitter for some of these guys that need it.
Right, right, right. So it's such a difficult job. If I'm a professional coach, I'm not looking to come back to college.
No, not at all.
Want to move on here. Just a couple quick notes. Softball team, Virginia softball's rolling. They've won 2 out of 3 at Duke, who was number 3 in the nation. So kudos to the ladies softball. You know, Virginia softball has not been in the past what they are right now, and they've been what are they ranked now, Jay? Aren't they?
They were 20 something last I saw, 20,
Right.
I think 23, 24, something like
Right.
that. But that was last week, so I don't know. After beating Duke, I would only assume they went up in the
Correct.
ranking. So I don't know. I didn't see this week's.
Right. And then of course we already talked about the baseball team. They've lost 3 or 4. They got Liberty tomorrow, and they are still on pace to host a regional. And we know they'll get their act together and figure some things out. We just got to figure out that pitching. We know we can score with anybody. The last I checked, when I was looking, I know our batting average, I want to say, was 1 or 2 in the nation. Runs was 1 or 2. Like everything, all of our offensive statistics were inside that top 5. But then if you look at the pitching side, it's the complete opposite. So we got to get serviceable pitching. It doesn't have to be Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, Steve Avery pitching. It's got to be or John Smoltz, don't want to leave him out. But it's got to be, at least serviceable. We need to be able to hold teams to 4 runs, 5 runs, because I know we can put up 10 or 12 runs a game.
I did get to see our boy Jay pitch, and he pitched pretty well. He came into a tight spot, got out of a jam, and then he did end up giving up a few, or a couple, I think, anyway. But looked good. I think the guys have the talent. It's just, I don't know if it's a mental thing at this point. It's like they're just putting the ball on the tee right now.
Right.
Some of those guys, and give credit to Georgia Tech. They didn't miss a whole lot of pitches. So hopefully, again, we go some games. It's like, we played ODU a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I know.
That game was 0-0 until like the 7th inning or something. I mean,
Right.
So we have the ability. We had a bunch of midweek games where we pitched really well. Is McKay hurt right now?
I'm not sure.
Is he? I know he went through a cold patch,
right?
And
they had pulled him off of the weekend.
Pulled him off
games.
the rotation. I didn't know if he was injured though, or if he was just pulled out.
I'm not sure.
But we just gotta. If we're not going to pitch, we better keep hitting. And ultimately, I don't think you can win a championship without one legitimate ace.
Yes.
And I don't know that we have that, but get to Omaha, possibly. I think you could do that.
Right. Yeah, and bats tend to tighten up a little bit when you get in the Omaha situation, or even in any of it, in the tournament. So.
Yep.
So last segment we're gonna have is Jay's best bets, and so Jay, what do you have this week for us?
Oh, so this is airing on Tuesday. So one of these, I'm gonna get this one out now, and it could be better or worse by the time you're seeing this. I wasn't thinking about this when I made it, but so we're going all over the place right now because we can't really focus on UVA or college in general right now. So looking at the NBA playoffs, this is my favorite bet in the NBA playoffs right now. You can get Denver to beat the Lakers in under 5.5 games at plus 100. So it means if you bet $10, you get to $20. So you win 10. You get your 10 back, you win 10. So I think the Lakers could steal one game potentially. Really, I think Denver sweeps them again. Denver's beaten the Lakers 9 straight. I don't see any reason to think that the Lakers are going to suddenly win 2 games. I think they lose tonight, go down 2-0. They'll put up a fight in game 3. Potentially they could steal that one, but I don't see any way the Lakers beat Denver twice. So I'll take Denver to win that series in under 5.5 games. Again, that's plus 100. That's good odds.
I'm just surprised by those odds.
I was too.
I would have thought that's at least minus 120.
So there's another way you could bet that, Jeff. If you wanted to bet exactly on the sweep, you could get plus 300 on a sweep.
I think the Lakers are going to get one.
So
but
then I think the Denver in 5 was like plus 200.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, I almost sprinkled a little on the sweep because I really think they're going to sweep. But I feel much better about just doubling my money, so I'll play the 5.5 under.
Go Nuggets.
So my second one will be, I know, and the Suns are already down. This is in the Suns T-Wolves. I think the Suns come back and win this series. They're a veteran team. The T-Wolves have a lot of young talent, but they're still the T-Wolves. And Kevin Durant is he's an all-timer. I think he figures out a way to get out of the first round at least. And so you can get the Suns plus 1.5 games. So they don't even have to win the series. They could lose it in 7, and you'd still be good there at minus 135. So
they could lose it in 6 games.
Is that
because if they win 2 games, you've won the bet 4-2
plus 1.5 games.
That means they got to win 2 games.
Yeah,
to win the bet.
So I like the Suns to actually win the series. So if you're going to give me games for sure, I'm gonna take that. And then the last one, I forgot to put down the actual line as far as what the money line was, but I think it was around minus 140. And this is in the NFL, and this is strictly a bet on consistency. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. And he's been there at Pittsburgh for 17, 18 years, Jeff? Something like that.
It's been a while, yeah.
So their over-under win total right now is 8.5. They've got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson on the roster. They've loaded up. They've signed some other guys in free agency. Anybody would say they've gotten better this offseason. And you're going to give me, decent odds. It's not, plus money or anything. But like I said, I want to say it was minus 140 for the Steelers to hit the 9-win total. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I think they could win 9, potentially 10, but Tomlin just finds a way. And so my faith is in Tomlin to continue his streak of winning seasons.
Yeah, with that one, I'm not too high on the Steelers, but because Tomlin always finishes 500 or better, I would have to swing that way myself. All right, well, I've got your bets written down. I can't wait to see.
One more thing that we didn't talk about with football: Malik Washington should be drafted on Thursday. Oh, well, probably not Thursday night, but he'll be drafted hopefully on Friday night. But if not Friday night, definitely on Saturday.
I think the Commanders are going to scoop him up.
I would love to see it. They said last I saw maybe a 4th round grade, and I think whoever gets him at that point is going to be a steal.
That's a steal.
Yeah,
I agree.
I would love to see Washington scoop him up. So wherever he goes, they're getting a good young player, and from all accounts, seems to be a good person as well. So.
I agree. Well, that's going to wrap us up tonight. We thank everybody for tuning in, and we look forward to speaking with everybody next week. Don't forget, check out thecollegehuddle.com. And also Friday night, the ACC huddle will be broadcasting as well. So don't forget to check that one out. Definitely hit us with a like, share us. Here's everything right here. Like, subscribe. I got to update this a little bit, but we're on X at Talk UVA Sports, YouTube at the Cavalier Connection. But definitely check us out. And
one more thing, Jeff.
Yep.
One more thing.
Yep.
Virginia got announced today where we're playing Villanova in Baltimore, I think.
Yeah. And
it was a neutral site game. Virginia Tech's going to play Penn State. We're going to play Villanova in a doubleheader. So another big game. Our schedule is shaping up to be a very good, difficult schedule.
No doubt. No doubt. Sounds great. Other than that, everyone have a great evening and go Hoos.
Go Hoos.